Totally forgot to film an intro for this yesterday when I actually did this video. I did it again today specifically to film this intro. um, yeah, so basically I'm gonna be doing this glitter liner, and I'm filming this video up like on the roof of my apartment complex, specifically just so you can see it in lighting that is not from my mirror. So this is it. I'm gonna show you how to do it. And the part that people actually want to see. I'm gonna do my eyes, but I'm gonna prime them with this Urban Decay original primer potion. A little brush guy. Looks like that. You really don't need that much of this stuff, but once it starts to, you have to be quick with it, because once it starts to dry down, it doesn't go as far. It gets kind of tacky. And I use my finger to apply this. I know that's kind of primitive, but I haven't found a brush that I would like to use with this. So I forgot to say, I kind of use this to clean up the bottom of my eyebrows, just in case I got it like everywhere or the line isn't as straight as I want it to be. So I take this big fluffy brush. We're going back to this contour palette to get that shade in the corner, which is kind of just like there's no shimmer to it. It's just this base whitish color, which I will put kind of all over my brow bone. I have a lot of lid space, so this whole upper half just gets covered in this, because that's just where it goes. And then we're gonna go back into the James Charles palette and grab the, I should probably hold it up, but it's like, it's giant, it's huge. So I'm going in this shade up here, which is kind of just, again, a like peachy white shade, but it's a little peachier than that one I was just using. So we got spots of brown here, we won't worry about it. So I'm taking that and I'm just putting it at the front right here. So it's a different lighter color, but you can tell that there is a difference, just a little bit, just a teeny bit. Okay, so doing that to the front of it just so I can contour the back, or kind of put the darker shades in the corner here. So yeah, I don't know why, it just looks better that way. So sometimes you bring it all the way to the front here and go like kind of in between the two layers of that color that you did. Depends on what I'm doing. Okay. I keep forgetting to explain things. So taking this like really broken up shade down here that is like just dust, because it's the lightest one in this palette and it's the one I used up first, and I dropped it and it broke, of course. But kind of going from this base area here where it's going to be thickest, drawing it all the way across here and then up a little bit just to blend it out. And again, I'm still using this big fluffy brush for this because I feel like it evenly distributes the color better than if I were to use a brush that's more pointed like this one. Okay, so sometimes I'll go in and use this, God, this is so terrible, the one on the end here, just a little bit, because it's a tiny bit darker. Give it some more shade. And this one I'm kind of mostly dragging through the middle. I'm not putting it upwards because I've already dragged the lighter color there, so I kind of want it to build on itself a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna put this guy away and then kind of just go only with the James Charles palette from here on out. But what I'm gonna do first is like blend the top of this so it doesn't look so crazy. And again, because I have such a huge eyelid space, I go kind of far up towards my eyebrow with this stuff. Especially when I put the lashes on, and I kind of do that in the middle of this process just so I can, well, I normally do, But when I do the glitter liner, I kind of do it out of order, but usually putting the lashes on helps me see where they're gonna be, where they're gonna end up, kind of like right here, and then I'll draw this dark spot even higher, kind of to compensate for that, so it's not covered up by the lashes, if that makes sense. Now we're gonna kind of go below that peachy guy with this one, because it's kind of, it doesn't really show up when I use it, but it, I feel like, helps just a little teeny bit buffer, is that the word? Buff these two shades together that I've already used. And that one I kind of tap into a little bit more just because it doesn't show up other than to blend them together. Okay, so now this is probably going to be easier because it's on this side. We're going to use these two, but we're mostly going to use this one. This one is super hard to blend with, and if you even like barely touch the thing with your brush, it comes off in like, there's just a ton on your brush. So we're going to go here first. Kind of shoving it into the corner and letting most of the color go upwards instead of downwards in that corner. I'm going to drag it pretty far over. We're kind of getting somewhere. Okay, so we have a clear definition on that side, just where I'd like to be, but I'm going to make it even more intense by taking that other color in there. Again, this shade is dangerous, as dark shades usually are. We're gonna just barely put the brush in there, like the teeniest, tiniest bit, and I don't think you can really see that side right there that has a color on it. Be very careful to see. Place it in this corner and buff it out as best as I possibly can. Okay, so we're gonna leave that for now and go in and mess with it later, but I'm gonna focus on getting this liner on. I'm gonna go in with red, and these are super cool because the brush is like really thin, and it makes it easy to just go in, and you have to be careful not to touch your eyelashes, so it's kind of a challenge, but I just kind of go in sideways like that. I'm gonna lose some of you guys here because I draw my eyeliner in super thick. We're gonna get kind of Amy Winehouse with it, but it's gonna be in a straight line and not just a glob. I'm not hating on Amy, I'm just saying. There's kind of a lot of product on that initial removal from the container, a lot more than you would expect there to be. And I kind of wait until I've brushed most of it off to do this part, because if you make a mistake, it is easier to erase because there's not much product there. And I don't really like to do the bottom first, I like to do the top first and then go in and kind of figure out where I want the bottom to be from there. Okay. And for this, because I'm gonna be sticking glitter on top of it, you don't have to be as precise. There can be some mess ups that you'll fix later on with the glitter itself and just kind of cover it up and make a better line. So I'm not super anal about the way that this goes on. As long as I can get a general shape going, I'm not complaining. They're probably like screeching at me, like, to stop and not put more on there. But trust me, it pans out, I swear. I'm gonna do that without breathing. Okay. Okay, that looks better to me. So okay. There. I think this one might be a little bit shorter, but we don't have time to worry about that. So just gonna make sure it dries, which doesn't take very long. And then use NYX's glitter primer, which is like disgustingly dirty. Don't look at that, even though I just showed you. For glitter, I use JCat brand. I have like a whole, it comes in a pack of like 30 of them, and it was like under $30. It was like 20, 25, something like that. Super affordable. I've had them forever. They work really well, and they're kind of like fine, if you can tell. So just gonna take like the tiniest bit, tap it on that surface, and we're gonna go back in with this guy. You remember him? Use him a lot, and kind of wipe the product that's on there off. Make sure it's flat like this, and the bristles aren't really coming off too much. I'm gonna take this, and it gets interesting because I am putting lashes on, and gluing the lashes to the glitter is not the most fun process. So what I'm gonna do is apply the glitter here and over the tops here, kind of, and just avoid this inner part, glue the lashes on, and then go back in and kind of edit it and make sure it's all to the lash line. Just take like a little tiny bit. That's actually not that small, but yeah, we're gonna start out here just because I got more than I needed to. And you're gonna spread it kind of thin, because I have found that if you do it thick, the color of the glue shows through. It does not dry down clear. It dries exactly the color it is when you put it on. So the liner itself is going to be a different color, but as long as you do this thin, the glitter will cover it up. If you do not do it thin, the glitter will not cover it up, at least not all the way. And this is like, I do this with a couple different colors. I think that red is the easiest to cover this up, but other colors just doesn't work like that. Okay, and it doesn't dry super fast, so you can kind of take your time placing it, but you do want to go for the area where it's like the least heavy first. And just dip the brush in the glitter and tap it on. And if it doesn't look clean at first, you don't have to worry about that. We're gonna fix it. I'm gonna wipe this off and keep like a little extra brush around just to get the rest of that off. And it is, because my pores are huge, it is gonna stick in here if it gets there, and it probably will, but it's not that bad. I'm actually probably just gonna take this tissue and scrape all that off. Just kind of leaving that fine line. So we're gonna go through the whole thing like that, but it's gonna be, just gotta be a little bit more careful. And this part is interesting because you have to be careful not to get it in your eye, but you're working super close to the inside of your lid here. Oh, it's already starting. I'll just try to get rid of it. Okay. I like to go over it twice just to make sure that the glitter is like really stuck in there and there's no like spaces where you can see the glue. We're getting kind of close to where the lashes are going to be, so I'm kind of trying to be a little more careful. Forgot to mention you can get those JCat glitters off of Amazon. We're going to apply this lash. So I currently use another Amazon product. Corporate America is not going anywhere, so I use Amazon. Anyways, Cuckoo lashes, CUCKOO lashes. When you order it, it comes with 3 of them. I've obviously used 2 already because if you're not super careful, the band, like when you're pulling the glue off to sort of try to keep it clean, if you're not careful, you will pull the band with it. And this glue that I'm using, I lost it. Oh, there it is. Okay. This one doesn't come off. It just does not. Just like it won't come off my eyelid, doesn't want to come off this band. So I kind of just pick off the pieces that are really obviously not supposed to be there, but overall it kind of just builds up. Yeah, that's what we're looking at for now. But this stuff takes forever to dry, so I kind of don't really mess with it anymore. Because this, I just wipe it on, stick it, we're good. The other stuff, I have to put it on, Then I'll do a whole different part of my makeup process for like almost 5 minutes, wait for it to get tacky, and then apply them. And it's just easier to do this. Do we really care how I apply this? I just kind of go on, you can't even see what I'm doing. I just gotta go on the bottom first. I got it on the lashes, oops. And then on the top edge. I can't even see, jeez. Yeah, don't know if anyone cares about that, but kind of wave it around a little bit. I don't blow directly on it because I've found that it stops being sticky when you do that. And I'm gonna take my tweezers. Take this hair off here first, actually. Grab them in the middle. Kind of press down with my nails here. So this is already not going well because of this glitter. I don't know how much of that you were able to see, but I think we're good. I think we are solid. Glitter all over my face. Yep, there we go. Glitter in my eye. Okay. So that's pretty glued on there. We're just gonna kind of push it into place a little bit more, make sure it stays. But otherwise it's pretty good. So I need to go in with the other eye and do the glitter. So both eyes are now glued, and you can see where I stopped above that for, I can't see it when I'm doing this, but to glue the lash on so that there's not really a whole lot of glitter there, so it sticks better. And this one is still kind of drying, but I'm gonna go in with the rest of this and color that in. And this looks crazy and it's kind of difficult, and in these spots there's gonna be a lot of glue. There's just not really a way to avoid that, so I stick as much glitter as I possibly can to it. Okay, we're still missing a spot. Okay, so that one is more or less all the way together. I just need to fix this guy. Okay. So we're good. That is all of the glitter applied. And I'm going to kind of go in and clean it up a little bit because it might be a little bit messy. Maybe clean tissue. Okay. It's just a little bit of cleanup. It's not too much, but it does improve it precision-wise. It looks a lot cleaner and sharper. And going back in with this guy to brush off all the glitter that I can see that has fallen where it does not belong. Okay, so now that the lashes are glued on, I'm not applying mascara because I want to wait until it dries down a little bit more, because I find that, again, with this glue, another little drawback is that if you mess with it while it's, you have to let it sit for like 10 minutes before it's like actually dry before you apply mascara, because it will lift them and put them in a different spot than they started in, which is super annoying. So we're gonna go back in with this guy and we're gonna fix this. Because I do like that to be really dark. Cool. And then if you can, without getting the glitter, or trying, like, don't rub it off, but blend outward a little bit on that so it doesn't look like it's just concentrated right there and it stops. And we're using the lighter shade that's just before the darkest brown to do this. Okay, so next, I can't leave the underside the way it is just because it doesn't look very finished to me. I like for it to look three-dimensional, so we're going to go back in with the Lorac contour palette, and I'm going to take the light broke shade again. Start with that in the corner here. More glitter has fallen off onto my face. That was probably a really gross face, sorry. Okay. I only use a little bit of that one just as a base. Then I'm gonna go in with, plug this guy up here. I'm gonna go in with this. Kind of, again, this shade doesn't really do that much, but I feel like it builds on what's already there. Okay, and then move to this guy. We are not gonna touch this guy until the very end. We're just barely gonna use it. And I don't drag it super far upward. I just kind of keep it in that corner and then draw it forward over this way. And very teeny tiny bit of the darkest one. And we're only putting that in like the little crow's foot area. Teeny tiny bit. And I just feel like it brings it together on the bottom like it's supposed to be. So I don't really put shimmer here because I don't think it's necessary since you fucking put glitter all over your eye. But you can if you want to, if you want a little extra flair. So to let the glue on my lashes dry just a little bit longer, I'm gonna do the last part of my makeup, which is highlighter, and then we're gonna draw on some freckles, which I get asked about a lot, how I make those work and kind of how they get. I'm really bad at explaining this. I'm really the worst teacher ever. how I keep them from looking like makeup, essentially. So I don't do them super dark. They're kind of just, I'll show you. We'll get to that. So we're going to start with highlighter. For this, I have a drawer that is just filled with powder because when I moved, all of my highlighters broke. They just shattered. So the whole bottom drawer of my like little makeup thing is just a variance of highlighters, and I think I'm gonna go for this golden one that is mixed in the same area as this white one that has like gold shimmer to it, if that makes sense. Again, I'm really terrible at explaining things, so I have too much on my brush right now. I'm gonna kind of knock some off. And we're gonna take these Urban Decay all-nighter spray, kind of give it a little baby spritz from far away because you don't want it to be too wet, because otherwise it's just gonna come out streaky. Kind of lay down a base layer of that highlight. Pick up what I put down with my brush, spray it from a little bit closer. I like to kind of start in the center and like brush it outwards and then upwards. Okay. So I'm gonna take like kind of the remainder of this and brush it over my nose. I don't use too much, just like a teeny bit. I focus all of it here really, and then a little bit up top, but not so much on this side just because my hair is going to be in front of it. I don't bother. I do bother, but I don't bother as hard. That makes sense. So now that the highlight is on, we're going to go back to our James Charles palette, and we're going to use these two shades again, this is where I live, right here. I kind of take the lighter one, and this brush, by the way, came in that set that I told you that doesn't have a name that I know of, from Amazon. Just like a big long brush set. There's a ton in there. Like, it's also where I got this guy. I think I've stopped using most of them. But there's a few gems in there, like these two in the fan brush. It's literally like when in SpongeBob they're painting Mr. Krabs' house and he like plucks a nose hair out and puts it in a brush. That's what this is. It's like very, I don't know what it's supposed to be for, to be honest, but I thought, hey, that looks like the perfect tool to apply fake freckles with, and it works. So the lighter shade I'm just using to make like little darker dots where I have like little skin, like little actual freckles that don't really show up that hard, but I like kind of enhance them. And then we're going to take that super dark shade and go in here, kind of just a little bit. Kind of just to help make it look like it's not stopping right there at your hairline. It just keeps going, like if you were to have actual freckles. And just kind of placing them in random spots. And doing the darker one again and kind of going into the sideburn area and kind of randomly placing them. And then I will also use that NYX eyebrow cake powder. Didn't know it was called that until today. And using this one because it's a little bit more translucent than the James Charles colors. and doing the majority of the freckles with this color because you don't want them all to pop out and be super intense. These ones kind of just fill in the background spots. Like you can really not see them on my phone camera, but when it all pulls together, you'll understand that it's better to not have all of them pop out crazy. So this is a lot more what the finished product looks like. Trying to figure out if I can make this look. I just moved one of my lights. So it's kind of, it's subtle. There's not too many points where you're like, that doesn't look realistic, but going like this over the top of it after you're done helps if there are some spots that just don't add up in a realistic way. Just a little bit. Okay, yeah, so we're gonna leave it like that. At this point, I usually just spray this because I'm not too worried about my mascara going anywhere. I have not applied that yet. This one is my ride or die. I will never stop using this. There's one singular reason. It is the brush, because it looks like this. It's like fully round. It gives you fluff. Meanwhile, I think like every other mascara on the market looks like this, and it doesn't really give you, I feel it doesn't really give you much control, and it doesn't really add anything. So I use it kind of as a secondary. I'll use this one first. I brush off the excess. My real eyelashes are just such a mess that this probably barely keeps them in line, but I try to like brush them up into the fake ones. And I'm going with this guy, which by the way is the Urban Decay Troublemaker. This is the Maybelline Colossal Volume Express. Oh my god, this one smells weird. It does not smell like it would be safe to put near your eyeballs, but it is. And I kind of left this out. I didn't put it back in its pot because I don't want a fresh grab when I do the bottom lashes. I just want what's left over so it doesn't look super intense. Yeah, that's fine. And that's it. That is the whole thing. It's a lot easier than it looks. And those products are relatively cheap. This is like $6 a tube. And again, those glitters are kind of an investment. It's like $25 or $30. I really don't remember how much it was, but again, that's JCat. That's it.